Hi and welcome to the garden. Today we're going to be showing you how to propagate hardy geranium. We're going to be doing this two different ways, one by root cuttings, the other by division. The geranium that we're going to be working with today is Geranium Patricia. Now Patricia is a fantastic geranium with lovely magenta flowers. It's one that we grew many years ago in our Sheffield garden amongst Brookside. The two are a great combination, so if you have Geranium Brookside, as we have in this border as well, and Geranium Patricia, the two go really well together. This plant didn't come with us from the garden, it's one we bought more recently, and so I'm going to be dealing with this one, and I'm going to get to it because what I need to do first is give it a really good cut back. I'm going to cut it right back to the ground because I'm going to be dividing it, and you know, it really needs to go right back. I know there's still some flowers on it, but it's been flowering all summer and it really is starting, apart from the central bit there, starting to look a little bit tired around the edges, and now will be a really great time to do it. The weather's perfect for it as well. It's not too sunny, it's not hot, and you know, the heat wave that we had last year, that wouldn't be a good time to be moving anything, whereas this is the perfect time because we're having lots of rain, having intermittent rain, so that's good. What I'm going to do is start by taking out this wonderful stake, and these are fantastic, perfect for the garden. If you pick these up anywhere, you can get them at garden centres, and they're just great for keeping your plants in the right position, and so you've not got plants spilling out all over the place and flopping over. They're a really great buy. Now what I'm going to do is start by chopping. I love this as well. Paul does all these lovely little labels. So Geranium Patricia, we've got her label there. I'm going to take that out while we're working in this area, and all as I'm going to do, so if I can get you to get in there, look at that. I'm going to take it right back to the base literally. So I'm going to cut along there. So I'll show you now, rather than tell you, I'll just show you. So I'm going to snip all this back, and I find this so therapeutic because with geraniums you cut them back, and I love the fact they just grow all this lovely foliage back, and they look stunning. They really do, because the worst thing about geraniums sometimes is when they start looking really tired. You know, when they've been flowering all summer and you think, oh, they look like they're coming to an end, there's still some flowers on, a bit like this one, and you can cut them back and we can rejuvenate them. You know, don't be afraid to chop them back, and you'll get lots of new flowers. Certainly on Patricia. Patricia's one that will flower again. And what I'm trying to do is be careful around this area here, because there's some Aquilegia seeds that I know that Paul wants to collect, so I'm going to have to be really careful with that, because if you can hear, there's like a rattling when you push on it, and that means there's lots of those other little black seeds in there, so I'll try and be as careful as I can. I'm not known for being careful. I tend to go in there and that's perfect, that's come away really well. Yeah, this plant is perfect, but there's only one, and we want two in this long border, and so now is the perfect time to cut it back so that we can get to do what we need to do, which is to divide it. We're also going to do some root cuttings with this as well, so it's going to be really interesting. I'll try and be as careful as I can. See, she really takes over. That's one thing about Patricia. She's not a geranium that hides away in a corner. She's one that likes to be there, centre of attention. She takes over. But that's a great thing when you've got a border like this, because you get those flowers running through the plants. So your main plant's there, but you had flowers over this side and through here as well, and out the back. So it's a really nice. I've just noticed I've just lost a few seeds then out the Aquilegia by doing that, but it's okay. So we've got, what's going on there? Let's have a look. I think that. Oh, and there's a small one. She's got a small one coming out the front. I'm going to take that back as well. So that's another Patricia growing through the front. Take that out as well. So that's looking good. So there you have it. You have geranium's been cut back. So all that foliage was from this small, tiny area here. It's a great plant and a welcome addition to any garden. It really is. So reliable. You know, literally you can have the same plant in for years and years and years. Get lots of cuttings from it. Lots of division. You know, like I say, we're going to show you how to do some root cuttings as well. Paul's going to do that later on. So it's going to be a really great action-packed video, this one. I've got wood lice around here, so what I'm going to try and do is just move them along gently. Because, obviously, because it was a nice dark area for them. Just be careful with them. Yeah, there's lots of baby ones there as well. I need to be really, really careful. Right, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to dig her out of the ground and place her onto this lovely Paul's potting tray. I'm going to place her onto there. Now she should come out really, really easily. Just cut around the edges there again, trying to be careful with this aquilegia, not to lose all the seed. It's a perfect day for gardening today because it's not too warm. It's actually quite nice. It has been raining a little bit earlier and it's just nice to be outside. Now, what I have done, if you've noticed, I did like a little square around her because I know how the roots form on this plant. Look, I was right as well. Look at that, and that's perfect. So she just needs a little bit more freeing in the corner there. Now the reason why it's a bit stubborn to get through there is because there's a piece of concrete that runs through the border there, just a narrow ledge. So she's right in at the edge there, so we'll take her out. I find this really therapeutic because you're in there making more plants from one that you've already got. You're saving money. You know, imagine going to the garden centre or plant centre and buying this. It's all about gardening. It can be about saving money as well because things are so expensive. Now, I'm going to place her onto the potting tray, removing those bits of the grasses there. And that looks really, really good. Because now we've got lots of wood lice in there as well that we need to be careful of, tons of them, so I'll be careful with those. What I'm going to do is, it seems a bit brutal, but it really is okay. I'm going to do some spade work. So what I'm going to do is probably spade her about there, so along the edge there. I don't really want to do it that way because of the way it's positioned. I know that seems awkward with that little bit of plant jutting out there, but it's okay because root wise it's probably better going along this section. And there's another little friend that I need to get out of here. This is filled with wildlife. With this one I'm wanting 2 generous clumps, but because, as you can see here, there are lots of root running along, you could quite easily separate just this piece now, as you can see there, tease it away gently or cut it away with a knife, pot that up, and you've got a whole new plant. And when you think about it, look at this, that's 2 plants, 3 plants, 4 plants, 5 plants, 6 plants. Literally you get so many plants from this one clump. But I'm going to do it a different way. I want just 2 generous pieces, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to spade it along the edge, and don't worry, all the wood lice will be going back. You can see running around, they're going back onto the garden where they belong. So I'm going to start by spading this. It does look brutal. Spade work, you know, you always see, you know, especially on Gardener's World, for instance, you'll see Monty Don doing it, and you think, you know, he always does say it's fine, it's not going to hurt the plant in any way, and it's not. The plant will ultimately thank you for it. And I just think it's really important to find a position like so. So as you can see, I'm going to need to use my foot to break this apart, but you can see I've got myself some nice leverage there, and then I'm just going to do like so. A bit further. Yeah, perfect. Now that is perfection in itself. I've got 2 amazing clumps there and a few little pieces as well. That's fine. Got potentially 3 clumps there, but I'm going to clump this up together, and some other little bits and pieces as well there. Lots of wood lice there going back onto the garden, but look at that, 2 really nice clumps. And as we say, you could literally pull this to pieces and you've got all those plants for free. But we do want to have established clumps rather than wait for a few years for them to be, to look like how that one did in the border. So what I'm going to do now is get one planted back. I'm going to put the dominant one back into this border. So I'm going to put the biggest one back in. So he's going to go right back where he was before. And I'm just going to get him and place him back in. And he's going to be fine. I know it seemed brutal, but honestly, he really will thank us for it. Or should I say, with her being called Patricia, she really will thank us. Out. And then I'm going to put her label back in with her. It's a Geranium Patricia, and she's going to have a really good water as well, because we've done a lot of root disturbance there, and the last thing we want to do is to leave her without water now. I know it's rained a little bit, but not enough. She really does need a really thorough drink after that in order to recover. So now I'm going to pass you over to Paul, who's going to take some root cuttings from the remainder of this plant.
So with the other portion, what has happened is these small little nodules have actually broken away. So what I'm going to do with those first, before I do the root cuttings, is just pot them on into some pots, because these will actually grow into lovely little plants, and a lot of them already got some little roots on. So all we need to do with these is just get them into some compost or soil, and they'll grow on perfectly fine. And even these ones that don't seem to have any visible proper roots, just the big fat root, that will still take. That root is still alive, and it will start to grow more fibrous roots once it gets back into the soil. So I've been quite fortunate to have a number of these plants. So these will grow on quite happily in these containers, and then we'll probably get them planted out in different areas of the garden, bringing that lovely Geranium Patricia colour, that magenta with that lovely black centre, to other areas of the garden, which would be lovely. So when we got this plant last year, it was a very small 9cm pot, so it was in a similar kind of container to this, and now, almost 2 growing seasons later, we're now able to get so many more plants for it. And even these tiny ones, I'm still going to give them a try, because they'll probably still be okay. Geraniums are so generous at allowing you to propagate and make many, many new plants from them. Just going to pop that in. So that's all the little plants potted up. Now these are the two, so that clump that Andrew has just divided has split into one really good portion, two smaller portions, and a lot of these smaller plants. So what I'm going to do with these two is I'm going to select some roots from these and do some horizontal root cuttings, and it's really exciting. The first time I did some cuttings from roots, it was like, oh my god, you can really propagate plants just by pulling bits of root off and getting it into soil, and it's amazing. I got my head around seeds and I got my head around doing stem cuttings, but actually propagating from roots was like a whole new fantastic area for me. So obviously I've done a lot since, tried a lot of different plants, and geraniums are really good at rooting and providing you more plants for your money. So what I'm going to do is just using some secateurs. You can also use a knife. I'm just going to get some portions of this root. So I'm going to select, I don't want to take the whole thing off, so I'm going to select that portion there. So that piece there I'm going to use, and I'm also going to select a piece from this one as well. I don't want to be too ruthless and take away all the roots, because that will impede this portion growing, but I will take one of them. So those two will go back in the garden as one clump, because we do want it to be a nice size in the long border. So I'll just put them to one side. With these two roots, we've got a tray full of compost, and what we're going to do is I'm just going to snip them into smaller sections. So because we're doing horizontal cuttings, it doesn't matter which way up they go, because these are going to be lying flat. And what happens is, along the length of this root, we should get little nodes that will start to sprout fresh growth. So in a piece like that, I'm just going to cut that into half. I'm just going to lay that horizontally along this compost, and then the same for the other one. Just going to cut that bottom bit off, that's not looking very good. So in this one I'm just going to cut another two portions, and I'm going to place that along there as well. And just while I've got space, let me see if I can just get another one. Let me just take that portion there. So I'm just chopping another piece of root, and I'm just going to cut that into two as well. Chop that end bit off. I'm going to chop that into two. So little portions. And then what we do with that is we cover the whole thing with some grit, and that helps to weight the cuttings down and just provides that layer for the roots to begin to create more roots. If you just press that down, so we're giving it good contact with that compost below, and then pre-labelled label which says what it is, put that in there, give that a good water, and hopefully we will start to see new growth appearing. So I'm going to place this somewhere just out of direct sunlight, somewhere fairly shaded out the way, and wait for those new shoots to appear. Now there's no proper time limit on this. Remember, we are getting on to almost September now, and we may get some growth appearing at this time of year, but we may have to wait till the spring. So don't be too anxious to be throwing these away. Give them time and these roots will sprout. So from that one plant we've been able to get 7 smaller plants, the portion that Andrew's planted in the border. We've got 6 root cuttings taken, and also 2 more portions which I'm now going to plant in the border. So in this new portion of border, remember the azalea used to be here, we've already planted some more of the steeper tenuissumers, We've got a couple of the wallflowers, so they were taken from cuttings of the original one, and we've also got a couple of the Salvia caridonas in there as well. Also some Aquilegias are also planted around, in and around, and also, if you remember, we did some cuttings of the phlox, some basil cuttings back in the spring. Well, this is one of them, and this one now actually has a flower on. So that's the cutting taken from the spring, and that is now doing its thing and flowering, so that's amazing. We want these geraniums planted in this portion. I've already mapped out a space where I want them to go. And this is a really good geranium, like Andrew's already mentioned, that can sprawl and mingle with all the other plants, all the neighbouring plants. So what we're hoping to happen is that this will reach far and wide. It'll mingle with all these plants, these salvias, the wallflowers, the grasses, the phlox, and do what is done over in that portion, create that beautiful purple. So I'm going to put these two together and replant them both. Because we're doing this quite late in the season, it's unlikely we're going to get many flowers. We may get the odd few, but the main thing is we've divided it, we've managed to get many new plants from it, and we should get a lot of that beautiful foliage, and that'll just take us through into the autumn. And then come next year, the plant will come back up in the spring and give us that beautiful flower in both parts of the border this time next year. We can be enjoying it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video informative. If you do have hardy geraniums in your garden, hopefully it's helped to show you how you can propagate them and make many more new plants. Please share this video on social media. Please like, please comment if you've got any comments, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We'll see you very soon on the next video. In the meantime, please take care.
2 ways to divide hardy geranium. To propagate hardy geranium. And start, just ramble. You can always cut, just do the usual, do what I did. Start the cut. The thing is, if you want to do something again, if you say cut, I know to do something again. This thing is. So look okay? 2 ways to propagate hardy geranium, is that it? Root cuttings and division and root cuttings, yeah. Hi and welcome to the garden. Today we're going to be propagating. We're going to be propagating apparently.